If you have been following my dashboard creation, you would have actually watched me do this. It's something very simple. I'm going to show you how to actually get it done, and all you have to do is to follow this series step by step. So in today's video, we're going to be focusing more on this particular one. As you can see over here, we have a heat map that shows values, and we can decide to actually hide the values by clicking on no values, and you have something like this. Isn't this beautiful? So I'm going to show you how to create every single thing you have right here. All you have to do is to make sure you actually, watch from the first, video down to here for you to understand every single thing I'm going to do right here. It's all about learning decks and visualization and creating better reports inside Microsoft Power BI for your boss, for your company, and even for your personal use. So if you're ready, let's get into the class. Creating a heat map that shows values and actually have the values hidden at the same time when you need to. So what do we do for the first time? We have to make sure we go over here and we use this particular matrix here. So we have the matrix. You can make it as big as you want for the time being. Later, after all, we can actually change things right here. So once you have this right now, we want to see our cancellation on a monthly basis and across the week. So what do? We go over to our calendar. So we're using short month. Then we bring in the short month right here. That is it. So we have it on the row path here. Then on the column part, we're going to be looking for the week, short week over here. I'll bring it here. So this is what we have. The next thing we have to do right now is to actually bring in, let us do for reservation and bring it in here. So now we have all of those particular numbers here. Something very beautiful. So what do we do next? It is time for you to start customizing this. And once you are done now, we're going to write a little DAX that will actually help us to change things right here. So to get things done now, I can go over to here and quickly turn off the subtitle. So once we have done this now, we will have to make sure this looks better because right now the values are very small. It's not looking good at all. So we have to affect the values right here. Let's start from the column header. So we'll put it at 13. So let's go with the row header here. We'll make it 13 as well. So we now have this. It is time for you to go to the value area. So here we have the value right in here. So for the values right now, the value is actually at 10, right? I think this is cool. Then the next thing we have to do is actually, I think we flopped. What we ought to have done is going over to this particular part here and thinking something. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let us go to this particular grid here and turn this on. Then once we have done that, we're going to put this one at 8. So now you can see how much we have gotten this to expand. So over here, we have month short. We don't want to see anything here at all. So how do we change that? So click on this particular path. And this time around, we have to summon this one to come here. Double click on it and just go ahead and change it to a dot, just like this. Right? So this makes it to kind of go away from here. Then once you are done with this now, the next thing we have to do is to some kind of start formatting this to look like the heat map we're looking forward to seeing. So anybody can do this, but the beautiful part is how to hide the values just like what we want. So now go over to here and you scroll down, you go over to this particular, cell element. Then once you're here now, we're going to be using the background here. So the background gives us something like this. And what we want is a specific color. So first of all, this is for reserved. So for reserved, we're going to go with this particular color right here. In case you can't remember what color is it, all you have to do is to click on the previous one you've created. And if you have done that with me, it will be very easy for you to find the color. Just go over here and pick up the color from here, right? Once done, let's go back. Now we are back here. So click on this one and let us go to this particular, background color here. And now we go ahead and select this for the highest value. So once we have done this now, the next thing we have to do is to select the same exact color. This time around, we select the lighter version of it by coming over to this environment here. This gives us a lighter version of the same color we have right here. So we now have something like this. So it's not really cool. What can we do? We can step in to adjust things until we get our desired color. So you can just make sure this one is a bit darker than what it is that I have right now, but still in the same color family. So this look must stand out, right? So what you can do right now, you can actually add a midpoint, which is optional if you want to do that. So you can come over here and add a midpoint. But for our own case, do we really have to do that? I guess optional. Let us see. If I want to do that now, I want to go ahead and get the same color in here. Then I'm just going to select this area. Then now I have to come over here and get more lighter version of this particular part here. And once you drop this in here, you now have something like this. So I told you it's optional. In case you don't want to have it, this is exactly what you have. So to make sure these particular colors here are hidden now, you have to apply the same exact color you have right here by using the font part here. So you have to come over here and select that same color to do that. But in our own case, we want to create a switch between showing the values and not showing the values. Depends on what the end users wants to see. So how can we create that? Let me just shut this one now. So how can we do that? To get that done now, we have to do something here. So come over to this particular enter data. So over here, I'm going to just do switch values, right? So on this one here, just type switch. So over here, we're going to do values. And here we're going to do blank. Or we can do blank, yeah. Let's do just blank here. So this is what we want to show. Then we just go ahead and load this. So now we have this very table right here. So we can bring it in here and convert it as a slicer, just like this for the time being, right? So this particular blank we have right here, if it does not give you what you want, you can change it to whatever you really like. So you can just say no values or whatsoever. So we have this right here. So let me keep it somewhere close to it. So what is selected right now is actually blank. So how do we use this particular table to switch off this and bring it back on again? Before we do it, we want to have two colors for the text, dark color and white color. So we just have to use two buttons to get it done. So now we have to write a new measure. Inside this particular measure right now, I'm going to call it switch values. So once I'm done, the next thing I have to do is to make sure I create a variable here. And what am I going to do with a variable? This variable will actually, do okay, I can just do values or switchable active switch. Whatever makes sense to you, please use it. This active switch will actually come into this particular switch values right here and actually store in what we have inside this particular switch values. That is what we want to actually create. So now we're going to do selected value and do switch, and we just go with this one, switch value. Sorry, this one that has this very one here. Yes. Then we'll close. So if I just go ahead and return this now, you already know what it is going to give us. Now it's showing us blank. This blank doesn't mean blank like normal blank. So if I go over here now, it shows values, right? So what can I do? This blank here, I don't like it. So let's go over to change it. To have it changed right now, we can't do it from here. So go over here. There is nothing we can do over here. We can't change it except if we want to add a new column. So how can we make a change of this? So go over to this particular transform data and click on this particular transform data here. So once you are here, click on this switch values and now click on this particular settings under the source part here. Now it gives you this. You can change it to whatever you like here. So I'm going to say no values. Or still, we can use clear. Just like this, values and clear. Then you click on OK. Now updated. Click on close and apply. It has been updated right here and it's been selected. And here it's going to update this. Okay. Once we have this now, we go back here. So under the return right now, what we're going to do is to actually use the switch true function. So this one now, you can use the if function as well to get it done. It's not complicated. So over here, we're going to do, okay, let's do active switch. If it is equals empty, oh, sorry, clear. Then what we want is to use a particular color that has to do with transparency. This is not a color. This is to remove color. We're taking it to tick off colors, right? So I think what we can do now is to do six F 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 2 zeros. This is for transparency. We close. Then we go ahead and say comma. If underscore this is equals values, then what we want to show is just black. Sorry, I forgot to put hash right here. Otherwise it will not work. Then over here we do hash. And for black we need 6 zeros. Now we close this, right? So if you want to actually have it as a default, if nothing selected, you can do that. But later after all, I'm going to remove it. It doesn't really make any sense. But let me show you how to do that. Put a comma here. At default, we want to have hash 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is for white. Then close and hit the enter key. So this is going to show us just the normal code over here right now. This is what we're going to have. It's not making any sense at all, right? Let us go over here now and click on this one. Now we go straight up down. So once we are here now, we click on this particular font, color, turn it on, and click over here. Then let us go over to here, and over here, then we do, switch values. So now it has been cleared. Can you see it now? So what happens if I click on values here? It gives me in black. What happens if I click on clear? It clears it for me. What happens if I don't select anything at all? It gives me the values in white. So if you want something like this, you can actually let it be. But if you don't want it, you can just clear it. So if you want to clear it right now, just go over to the switch values right here. Make sure you clear down to the comma. Here we go. So hit the enter key. So let us see what will be the side effect when there is no default, value set for it. Let's go over again. There is nothing selected right now. Our default is going to give us black color, which is the default color it were before. Then when we now select these values here, it is still going to give us the same thing. Then clears it up for us. So we can force people to just select one, which means we are going to make it, forceful selection by coming over here, selection, you do single selection. So which means nobody can actually do multi-selection. It's either you're clearing or you're showing values. Depends on what you want to see. So this is exactly what we want to create right in here. You see it now? Very simple. So now we have gotten this done. The next thing we have to do right now is to create for the cancellations that we have actually had. So Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to paste. So once we have done that now, we just move this one over here. And all we have to do is change the values. Let's go over here. And instead of us to be looking at this particular reservation or reserved booking here, I'm going to take it off, and cancel reservation comes into the value area. So we now have, oh, sorry, not this one. Can you see what I have here? This is crazy. So we go for cancel booking over here. So we have something like this. So quickly we have to go ahead and do the conditional formatting. So first of all, we click over here. Once we are done with that, we click on this one, click over here. So we have our color for the cancellation. So you select this version. Let's check it out. Now you have something like this. You can see where it is high. Then quickly, let us go over to this one, turn it on, click over here and go over to this. So right here, do switch and select the right one, switch values. And here you go. So now this responds to whatever we have done here. So it clears everything off for us. So what I've just done now is to learn how to write a DAX that will actually, put a particular color into transparency. Depends on what you want. So play around with this and let me know what you have inside your own personal project. More two charts that shows something very important. So let us use this particular chart right here, which is a closed chart, column chart. So to display the, our bookings across the year. So I'm going to go over here and you can expand it to see what you're going to get in here. So we have reserved booking and we have the cancelled booking right here. So once you're done, you can return this back to create more space for you, right? Then we'll go to the calendar and we scroll all the way down to get the year into it. So can you see it now? This is what we actually have. So quickly, we have to make sure we meet up with the color. So we just have to go all the way down here and we have to specify what we want to use for reserved booking. Then for reserved booking, we're going to go with this color. For the cancelled one, so we want to go with this particular color right here. So once we are done, we can just go over to here and for the legend, we turn off the title of the legend and we move the legend to the bottom center, just like this. So quickly, we go over to the y-axis and we turn off the title of the y-axis and as well the value. We don't want to keep it. Then the final thing we have to touch right now is the X. And for the X-axis here, we want to go over to the, title and turn it off. Can you see it now? So crank it up a little bit by putting that 10. So if that is what you want. Then finally, we are going to change the title it after all. But right now, we copy and paste this down. So to create more space now, we can do that later. So you can just go ahead and do this. And over here, what I want to show is seasonality, right? So we just go over to here, and now we take off the year. So if you go over here, you can see this particular season. So you bring it up to the x-axis here. So this is what it gives to you. Because of our space, we can't use this particular chart to have this visualized. So instead, we have to switch it to this particular chart here. Now we have something like this. Can you see it now? So you can order it based on how you want it to go. Can you see? It depends on what you really want. So you can create the orders yourself. Depends on what you want. You can just do it anyhow you like. This is what we need to have, and we're almost done with all the visuals we need before we start arranging this to create something very much more interesting to look at.